The stock cables that come with your power supply are almost always fairly hideous and might put a taint on your otherwise perfect build. But the problem is, getting custom sleeved cables is really expensive, so going to cable mod might not be an option for everybody. Does that mean you're screwed? Well, Silverstone thinks not. Today I'm going to be looking at the sleeved extension cables by Silverstone. So these are kind of made so that they can replace the standard cables on your power supply going to the 24 pin, the 6 and the 8 pin on your graphics card, and even the 8 pin for your CPU. You can get them in a fairly standard arrangement of colors, white, black, red. I think there's some blue and green as well, depending on if the shops stock them or not. This isn't nearly as wide a spectrum of colors as you'll get from someone like CableMod or any other custom sleeving company, but it's enough to cover the standard bases of colors. Now, how I'm going to be doing the use case today, I don't think test is quite the right word because I'm not testing anything, is taking shots of the standard cables that come with the power supply being a Corsair RM550X, the name almost escaped me there, and then from there I'm going to do some shots using the actual the Silverstone sleeved extension cables, and after that I decided that I'm also going to be using some actual cable combs to see how much of a difference that makes in the end aesthetic of the cables. As you can see here, the stock cables look pretty horrible. I mean, it doesn't look too terrible at the 24 pin. I mean, it's not the greatest look, but it's around the 8 and the 6 pin from the GPU where it just looks terrible, because there's that kind of like extension bit that connects the first 8 pin to the second 8 pin, and then there's the +2 that's kind of like hanging there. It just looks pretty rubbish. So when you move on to the Silverstone cables, it looks really good. It's quite a big improvement. Especially there by the graphics card. With the 24 pin it also looks great, but I don't think it's as direly necessary there as it is with the other with the 8 pin and the 6 pin. And here is what it looks like with the actual cable combs installed. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the cable comb look. I actually think with the graphics card, the cables kind of hanging naturally looks a bit better, but if you want more organized cables, this is the way to go. And with the 24 pin, I do agree it looks better. I set up the cable comb in a way that you don't actually see the cable comb. It just kind of organizes the cables a bit better, and it gives it a bit more of a flamboyant flair. All in all, I really like these cables. I think they're cheap, they're pretty easy to install. The only problem is when you've installed them, it's an extra 30 centimeters of cable that you have to kind of like tuck in somewhere into the case, and it can make cable management quite difficult, especially in a case as small as the NZXT S340. It became a little bit tight in the basement. Two of the cables actually had some blemishes on right out of the packet, which was a bit disappointing, but I mean, you're paying very little money comparatively for these, so I guess it's slightly excusable, I'm not sure. But yeah, otherwise I do completely recommend them. I think that if you want to get rid of the hideous cables in your case, go for it. It's a cheap upgrade that makes quite a big impact on the actual look of your case.